Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to be here today. It's a real great honour and privilege to share a little bit about what I do and the organisation that I'm here representing today. But as I say, with the shared vision and passion for utilising the beautiful game that we all know and love, football, to extend our faith to those around us is one that I'm deeply passionate about. And as I say, to be here today to present a little bit about the work that I do is a great honour. So in terms of just a very quick brief overview, I'm going to talk about Everton community, who we are, what we do, then kind of moving on to how and why we do it. I've been told I've only got 5 minutes, so I'll try and be as brief as I can. And very briefly then talking about how this then translates to the impact of the work and how that's generated, and a very short vision for our exciting legacy project, which I'll end with. So, who are we? We are Everton Community. For those that may not know, we are the official charity of Everton Football Club, based in Merseyside, in the northwest of England. For those that haven't been to Liverpool or don't know our stadium, this is it here. This is Goodison, based in the L4 area of the city. And we are very uniquely placed and positioned by way of our geography to be right in the heart of the community and have been for over 100 years. And based on our work that we do through our charity Everton Community, we have a very special bond with our community, hence why I think it's our very own Mr. David Moyes a few years ago coined us the People's Club. But essentially, we design, deliver a range of social impact programs to engage, motivate and support at-risk, marginalised and vulnerable people groups across our city region. And for that reason, that's why I kind of feel passionate about being quite missional, and an extension of my faith is being able to do that through football. So just a little brief kind of overview as to the need within the business of supporting at-risk and marginalised and vulnerable people groups. Our business, in that sense, is need. So you'll see here from this little diagram, this is a representation of the Liverpool City region, and you'll notice in those small pockets in the red highlighted areas represents areas of the most deprivation. And you'll see by way of the zoomed in image there that our stadium in the L4 area of the city is right in the heart of some of those very needy communities. So in terms of deprivation, it represents the top percent socially deprived communities in the UK. And with that comes a range of social issues, from the highest levels of violent crime to low levels of education and employment to mental health, and lots of other social issues that essentially our organisation is aimed and equipped to help support people navigate and improve their life chances. We do that through a range of different social impact programmes, of which we have now over 50, covering a kind of broad range of themes from youth engagement, education, employment, health and social care, social inclusion and disability. So my area of specialism sits within health and wellbeing. So we design and deliver a range of health and wellbeing themed programs, not just utilising football. In many cases, and in recent times, probably in the past 10 years, increasingly less so, more utilising the assets of the club and the opportunity to engage what the health economists would call hard to reach audiences. I have a personal issue with that phrase. I don't think any groups are hard to reach. I just think that the message and the programmes and the support being offered may be hard to engage with or aren't particularly appealing. So hence why utilising novel and innovative approaches like the football club to engage hard to reach audiences is one that can really profitable for us as an organisation. We do that through some kind of key themes, key deliverables across our strategic vision: Everton Minds, Everton Learns, Everton Thrives, and also towards the end of my presentation around our very exciting vision for the future through our Everton legacy. Our approach, so we've talked about the why, the how is very much based on nearly 4 decades worth of empirical collateral that we've been able to muster up and utilise our experience over these years that we've been operational to design what we feel is a really needs-led approach, research informed with our academic institution partnerships, evidence-based, and as much as best as we can, having that preventative and lifelong approach to support people across the life course. Obviously, with the various different groups that we engage, having the opportunity to be as targeted and as tailored as we can to make sure that that offer is appealing and culturally relevant. And as I say, looking at the key transition and change points throughout the life course and being as preventative and proactive as possible to put programs and support in place to help navigate these known challenges. So, for example, becoming a parent for the first time, it's a massive life change, it's a massive life transition, listed with risk factors for all kind of outcomes, be it health or well-being or otherwise, primary school to secondary school, employee to retired, military to civilian, non-carer to carer. These are known kind of change and transition points along the life course that we know, historically we know by way of research, have a high propensity for poor outcomes for people's life chances, so enabling us to have proactive and preventive programs in the cracks of the change and transition points is one that's been really, as I say, useful for us and had great impact. And then utilising the novel and unique club assets as a football club, the power of the badge, the power of our stadium, the draw of our players and our manager, and all that comes with it, being a Premier League top flight, glad to say, just football club has an opportunity for us to be able to engage audiences that maybe mainstream services might struggle to engage. And one that's of a particular passion to me, and in some sense puts a strain in my step every single day, is engaging kind of young and middle-aged men, especially around themes of mental health and suicide prevention. As we know, that most of them may not. The biggest killer of men under the age of 50 is suicide, a preventable cause of death. And NHS services might say that middle-aged men are hard to reach, hence why that statistic might be the way that it is. But it's interesting that football clubs don't seem to struggle in that regard. Every other Saturday our stadium is full with 40,000 middle-aged men in some sense, as well as other different demographics as well, of course, but it's how we can then position programs of support in a right way to engage what will be classed as hard-to-reach audiences. And invariably we do that through various different means, but having specialised staff, really kind of expert leading staff with not only professional qualifications but also that personal empathy, rapport, and being able to build relationships and friendships, as Phil referenced before, is a key asset to the work that we do. The impact of the last few years, we've seen an exercise of how we can understand the impact that we make, so we've been able to quantify that and substantiate that, to be able to really leverage even greater support and understand where we're having the most impact and where we need to invest more. And we've seen that track over our social return over the past 2 decades has more than doubled. And this was from a recent social return on investment analysis that we had done independently by a leading expert in the field called RealWare, who triangulated all the work that we do, all the KPIs, all the outcomes that we managed to achieve from our education, from our employment work, from our youth engagement, health and wellbeing and so on, to then cost analyse that for every £1 invested into the community, they return nearly £30 worth of social return. And then I'll close just on this exciting vision for the future. For those that may not know, that stadium that I showed you before, which is our current home, Goodison Park, as I shed a tear, is soon to be our old home as we transition to our new base in Bramham Dock on the banks of the River Mersey. And it's a fantastic site. For anyone that's been there or knows it, it's going to be an iconic part of that riverfront for many generations to come. Now that's an exciting vision for the future, if nothing else. But the more exciting aspect of that stadium move for me and our organisation, Everton and the community, is what's going to happen with the existing site of Goodison, which will then be classed as the Goodison Park Legacy, which, again, I'm probably talking about time, so this could be in itself its own presentation, but essentially it will go from what it looks like there in the bottom left to what will be a purpose-built community village, which will be owned and built and designed by Everton and community as a purpose-built community village for the L4 community, with all of their needs considered. A massive consultation piece around what are the most prevalent needs, improved access to healthcare, improved access to quality education, employment opportunities, quality housing, enterprise, entrepreneurial opportunities. So that's going to be a £200 million project that will take place in the next kind of 3 to 5 years. So it will ensure that Everton Football Club, Everton and community remains in that very needy community for many generations to come. And a real kind of feather in the cap, if you'll notice where that kind of green space is there, towards the top of the picture, you'll see there's a circle, a green circle. That is actually the centre circle of Goodison. So everything else will be knocked down, but that will be called the Goodison Park. So future generations of Evertonians will be able to say that Everton still play at Goodison Park. Just kind of a brief overview there of some of the aspects of what that village is going to include, from a health zone to an education zone, performing arts academy, affordable housing, for local communities first, and in many cases to get themselves on the property ladder. So with that said, thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and happy to field any questions later on.